Chicago. Only Trump could Freaky Friday Chicago and Gaza. And I know Trump is upset that he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize, but the last guy to send heavily armed men into an American city was Bane from Batman. Bane, who was also snubbed for the Peace Prize. And Trump deserves credit, I have to say, for brokering this ceasefire in Gaza, but I'm slightly skeptical since Biden also negotiated a ceasefire in Gaza 9 months.
A day today, Colin Jost isn't holding back. And yes, Donald Trump is right in his line of fire. Tweets mocked, ego shattered, hair questioned. It's a full-blown comedic battleground where every punchline hits harder than a political upset. Get ready, because what's about to unfold isn't just funny. It's chaos delivered with perfect timing. The kind that makes you laugh, gasp, and ask yourself, did that really just happen? Stay tuned. Things are about to get brutally hilarious.
President Trump finally released what everyone has been asking him to release.
Nice.
George Santos, the former Republican congressman who had pled guilty to fraud and something called aggravated identity theft, which I think is when you push someone into a closet and switch clothes with them, is now free and will face zero consequences. But Santos says that he's a changed man, and he even released a photo of his new prison body.
Have you ever witnessed someone calmly and precisely dismantle another person's ego in front of millions? If not, you're about to. Colin Jost just turned public embarrassment into an art form, and poor Trump never saw it coming.
The actual Nobel Peace Prize was awarded this week to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, or as Fox News reported it, Trump robbed by deranged Hispanic. Memorable. President Trump issued a proclamation ending Indigenous Peoples Day and calling Christopher Columbus the original American hero. So while Trump is rounding up people with ice, he's praising Columbus, a guy who literally brought boatloads of Hispanics to America.
It began like any ordinary night. A crowd expecting laughs, a brightly lit stage, and one man convinced he was untouchable. But Colin clearly didn't get the memo. Instead of playing it safe, he went straight for the jugular. And suddenly, Trump's confidence looked more like a kid trying to outplay a chess grandmaster.
Air Force One to the Middle East to celebrate the ceasefire, President Trump told reporters, "I don't think there's anything that's going to get me into heaven." Then he paused for 10 full minutes, waiting for someone to say, "That's not true." Because Trump can't go to heaven. He's far too busy down here, running hell. Who wants people to stop coming up to him to order chicken, has become the third person on President Trump's enemies list to be.
What makes Colin dangerous isn't subtlety, it's precision. Every line, every perfectly constructed jab lands with a balance of charm and ruthless honesty. He doesn't just point out flaws, he transforms them into a story, spinning Trump's quirks into a full-blown comedy. Masterpiece.
Trump signed an executive order on concert ticket fees and then returned to his regular job as a 4th of July lawn skeleton. I love that you can intentionally ruin the economy and still get to stay president. It's like if you drunk drove your car through the window of the DMV and they were like, "License renewed." It's insane. This was the worst week for the stock market since the summer of 2020. But you have to remember, back then, the president was also Trump.
That hair, it's not a hairstyle. It's an ongoing experiment in defying both gravity and logic. Those tweets historical artifacts of chaos. And that ego big enough to spot from space. Yet Colin made it look like a balloon slowly deflating at a sad birthday party. His jokes make you laugh, cringe, and question whether it's wrong to laugh that hard. That's the Colin effect. Meanwhile, Trump, ever the showman, stood there blinking, muttering about fake news as the crowd leaned into the storm of laughter. But Colin didn't stop at surface-level mockery. He went deeper, poking into psychology behind every 3 a.m. tweet, every rally disguised as a Broadway audition, every moment of self-proclaimed greatness. He painted Trump as a man trapped inside his own reality show. No edits, no producers, no backup plan. And when Colin dropped those quieter jabs that hit the hardest, the audience didn't just laugh. They paused because deep down they knew he was right. Every misplaced word, every overconfident gesture made Trump's image of invincibility shake like a tower of Jenga blocks in an earthquake.
With President Trump at the White House this week, where Trump announced he's sending $40 billion to Argentina. Because if history is any guide, a lot of Trump officials will end up fleeing to Argentina. Well, America elected Donald Trump to run the country like a business, but it turns out he's running it like one of his businesses. I love that you can intentionally ruin the economy and still get to stay president. It's like if you drunk drove your car through the window of the DMV and they were like, license renewed.
This wasn't just about being funny. It was about timing, precision, and quiet dominance. Colin delivered every line with the calm confidence of someone who knew exactly what he was doing while his target didn't. You could practically see Trump's mind spinning, desperate to respond. But every punchline landed before he could catch up. By the time he even thought of a comeback, the laughter had already won and social media was exploding with savage roast memes. Within minutes, clips went viral, gifs were everywhere, and late-night hosts were taking notes. Colin didn't just joke. He elevated humor into social commentary. His mix of observation, satire, and truth hit harder than any insult ever could. What made it powerful wasn't cruelty. It was clarity wrapped in flawless timing that made denial impossible.
The Democratic National Committee protested President Trump's plans to accept a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar by flying a banner over Mar-a-Lago reading Qatar-a-Lago. It's the kind of hilarious stunt that makes you realize why the Democrats will never win again. Ethical experts are also warning that Trump may owe political favors to countries who give him lavish gifts. But based on the way he left the Middle East, I think I know how Trump is going to...
And then there's the scale of it all. It's one thing to crack jokes in private. It's another to command a stage in front of millions and systematically dismantle someone's image line by line. Trump's carefully constructed armor of confidence began to crumble under the sheer weight of Colin's words. There was something poetic about watching decades of bravado dissolve under laughter. The crowd was caught between shock and delight, laughing not just at the jokes, but at the surreal beauty of it all. Colin managed to be both charming and devastating, a rare mix that made his performance unforgettable. Every line was crafted like a surgical strike, funny, sharp, and impossible to ignore. For Trump, it must have felt like sitting in a bunker while the walls were quietly being rearranged around him.
This was the worst week for the stock market since the summer of 2020. But you have to remember, back then, the president was also Trump. Just in the past 2 days, investors have lost over $6 trillion. Money is leaving the stock market faster than Morgan Wallen at goodnight. Met with Kid Rock for what appears to be drag queens.
Some jokes cut so precisely they felt like lessons disguised as laughter. The kind that hit you halfway through the chuckle and make you realize, ooh, that one stung. Colin's routine wasn't just about humor. It was storytelling. He built a narrative of contradictions, bravado versus vulnerability, ego versus reality. Each joke felt like a new chapter. Every reaction from Trump, another plot twist in a story unfolding exactly as Colin intended. It was comedy driven by structure, a story told with rhythm and intent. And while Trump may not have enjoyed the performance, the rest of the world couldn't look away, because watching someone peel back layers of ego with nothing but words is a reminder of comedy's true power. And when it was over, the internet lit up. Memes, reactions, and commentary spreading faster than wildfire.
Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that he wasn't scared of going to jail for violating a gag order, saying, "I will gladly become a modern-day Nelson Mandela." Unfortunately for Halloween. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, 4 presidents visited New York City at the same time on Thursday, 3 to do a joint fundraiser at Radio City, and 1 selling Bibles door to door. Donald Trump has partnered with country music star Lee Greenwood to sell a $60 special edition of the Bible that also includes the Constitution, the lyrics to Greenwood's God Bless the USA, and I assume God's letter of resignation. This Bible is mostly the same, but Trump's version ends with Jesus' disciples storming Jerusalem to overturn the results of the crucifixion.
The world collectively laughed and nodded, entertained and impressed by how effortlessly Colin dismantled Trump's image. But beneath the humor was a deeper truth. No public figure, no matter how grand, is immune to sharp observation and wit. Colin didn't need anger or volume. He used timing and insight to reveal the cracks, gently widening them until everything fell apart. It's ironic, really. Trump, the self-proclaimed master of media and narrative control, was undone by a narrative he couldn't rewrite. No press release, no tweet, no spin could fix it. Comedy had become the ultimate truth serum, exposing everything that bravado tried to hide. By the end, it wasn't just a roast. It was a statement. Even the biggest egos can fall with a single well-aimed punchline.
The CEOs of many tech companies who supported President Trump's campaign have said they were surprised by all of his tariffs. Well, yeah, he hardly ever mentioned them. Campaign finance records show that in the last 6 months, the super PACs behind Donald Trump spent $50 million on Trump's legal fees. And that's with the cheapest, worst lawyers on the planet. Can you imagine spending $50 million on the people who just lost you $83 million? This lawyer did such a bad job in court, I thought her actual name was over.
And while Trump might have sulked or considered firing off a few angry tweets, the world was already laughing. That's the beauty of masterful comedy. It doesn't just entertain. It rewires perception. Colin turned humor into a scalpel, using it to reshape how millions saw one of the most polarizing figures on Earth. It wasn't just a routine. It was a strategic takedown. A reminder that the sharpest weapon isn't always outrage or power, but wit. A single well-delivered joke can cut through arrogance, expose absurdity, and leave everyone watching in stunned admiration. Colin Jost didn't just perform. He made history one perfectly timed punchline at a time.
Behind Donald Trump spent $50 million on Trump's legal fees. And that's with the cheapest, worst lawyers on the planet. Can you imagine spending $50 million on the people who just lost you $83 million? This lawyer did such a bad job in court, I thought her actual name was overruled shutdown.
So, the next time someone claims comedy can't make an impact, remember this night. Remember the precision, the calm confidence, the way laughter became both the weapon and the message. Even the most powerful egos have their weakness. And sometimes that weakness is a comedian with perfect timing. Watching Colin was like watching an artist at work. Every word deliberate, every reaction earned. Trump didn't stand a chance. The jokes hit, the memes erupted, and the crowd laughed until realization set in. Colin wasn't just funny. He was right.
4 presidents visited New York City at the same time on Thursday, 3 to do a joint fundraiser at Radio City, and 1 selling Bibles door to door. Donald Trump has partnered with country music star Lee Greenwood to sell a $60 special edition of the Bible that also includes the Constitution, the lyrics to Greenwood's God Bless the USA, and I assume God's letter of resignation. The Bible is mostly the same, but Trump's version ends with Jesus' disciples storming Jerusalem to overturn the results of the crucifixion.
By the end, Trump's polished persona had completely dissolved under Colin's humor. The public ego collided with comedic precision, and the untouchable became unmistakably human. This wasn't cruelty. It was pure clarity expressed through wit. The internet went wild. Every clip replayed, every reaction analyzed. What unfolded wasn't just entertainment. It was strategy, commentary, and truth delivered through laughter. The message was simple but powerful. Even the loudest voices, the biggest egos, and the most unshakable images can crumble under the weight of one perfect joke. Colin Jost didn't just perform a roast. He staged a public reckoning. Ego demolished, audience roaring, and history made.